All right, so today we're going to look at how to make like a really great website for a yoga retreat.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, and we're using this article from Site Design NOW.
Okay.
They're a web design company here in Australia.
Cool.
And the article is called Essential Features for Engaging and Effective Yoga Retreat Websites.
Catchy.
I know, right? And one of the things I thought was really interesting that they talked about was, the retreat schedule.
Okay.
It's not just about like listing it out.
Yeah, right.
It's about making it something that's going to get people excited.
Yeah, totally. It's kind of like they're getting a sneak peek at the whole experience just from like looking at how the schedule is laid out.
Right, exactly.
And, it has to be clear and appealing and well organized.
Yeah.
And I think there's like another little thing to keep in mind with yoga retreats, especially in Australia, is the different time zones.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
So what would you suggest? I mean, would you just list the times in like multiple zones?
I mean, you could, but that might be a little messy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Maybe you could do like an interactive timeline.
Oh, interesting.
Where people could adjust it to their own time zone.
Oh, I like that.
Or even just like a little world clock feature somewhere.
Okay.
Just showing what the corresponding times would be in major cities around Australia.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, it's all about those little things that show that you've like really thought of everything.
Absolutely. Makes it easy,
Exactly.
Yeah. So the article also talks about instructor bios.
Yeah.
And I think this is where like transparency is super important.
Oh, for sure. Especially with yoga and wellness.
Yeah.
People really want to feel like they know the instructor even before they get there. They're looking for someone who like, fits with their style and philosophy.
That resonates with them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So having these really detailed bios, showcasing their experience and their teaching style.
Yeah.
Maybe even their qualifications, like do they meet Australian standards? Things like that can really build trust.
It's like they're getting to meet them ahead of time.
Exactly.
Virtually.
Yeah.
So moving on, the article also emphasizes online booking.
Okay.
Which seems pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, I mean, most people book things online these days.
Totally.
But there's more to it.
Yeah, there are nuances to think about with a yoga retreat.
Okay.
Like maybe offering a payment plan.
Oh, good idea.
So that people have some flexibility, or making sure that you're integrated with scheduling software.
Right, so you don't get double booked.
Exactly.
Right.
And then, of course, making sure that everything is secure.
Of course, yeah.
And compliant with all the Australian regulations.
Right, so it's about taking that familiar online booking system and tailoring it.
Yes.
To this very specific need.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of making connections, the article talks about the power of testimonials.
Yes.
And I think this is where, the psychology of how we make decisions comes into play.
Oh, absolutely. Testimonials are so powerful.
Yeah, because they're not just nice words, they're like social proof.
Yeah.
When you see all these real people raving about their experiences, it makes you think, well, hey, if they loved it, maybe I will too.
Right, and it gives you that sense of like, been there, loved that.
Exactly. And, the article calls them bridges to personal connections.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way to put it.
Okay, so now on to a topic that I'm really excited about. Building a yoga blog.
Fun.
I know. And the article suggests weaving in tips and mindfulness practices.
That's great. A blog is such a powerful tool.
It is.
It's great for engaging potential attendees, but it's also amazing for your website's SEO.
Okay, explain that. What is SEO?
SEO stands for search engine optimization.
Okay.
And basically it means making your website more visible.
Okay.
When people search for things like yoga retreats or mindfulness practices.
Oh, so it's like strategically
Yes.
getting people to your site.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the blog isn't just about sharing good content. It's about attracting people.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So the article specifically mentions weekly updates
Oh,
with like stories and illustrated guides and maybe even an advice column.
cool.
What do you think about that frequency?
Yeah, I mean, weekly updates sound amazing.
They do.
But I think the most important thing is to find a rhythm that you can sustain.
Okay.
Quality over quantity. So
Yeah.
maybe bi-weekly post would be more manageable.
Yeah.
Or you could focus on creating content that is evergreen.
What does that mean?
Evergreen content is basically timeless.
Oh.
It stays relevant for a long time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so you're not constantly having to churn out new stuff.
That makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
It's about finding that balance
Yeah.
between consistency and
quality.
and quality. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so smart. Yeah, because then you're not always feeling like you have to come up with new stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, so another thing the article mentioned was Australian web design standards, which sounds kind of technical, but I think it's important, for building trust
It really is.
and like a professional feel.
Yeah, when your website meets those standards, it shows that you're committed to like providing a good experience
Yeah.
for everyone.
Right, for everyone. And the article mentioned accessibility.
Yes.
But I'm not really sure what that looks like for a yoga retreat website.
Okay, so
I mean, it's not like I'm building some crazy app or something.
right. Well, accessibility basically means making sure your site is usable for people with disabilities.
Okay.
So, for example, adding alt text to images
Okay.
so that screen readers can describe them for visually impaired visitors.
Oh, that's a good point.
You also want to make sure the site's easy to navigate with a keyboard and that you have good color contrast for people with low vision.
Okay.
Little things like that can make a really big difference.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Huh.
It makes me realize that there's a lot more to think about
There is.
than I realized when you're creating this online space.
Hmm.
Okay, so we've talked about the schedule and the bios and booking and testimonials and the blog, but what about the look of the website?
Oh, yeah.
How do you capture that, peaceful and inviting vibe of a retreat
Ooh, this is the fun part.
through design?
Yeah, the visuals are really your chance to like create an immersive experience.
Okay,
Think calming colors, serene landscape,
I like it.
maybe even some subtle nature sounds.
Oh, that's nice.
Everything should work together to evoke that sense of tranquility
Okay.
and connection with nature.
So it's almost like setting the stage before they even get there.
Exactly.
I'm picturing lots of natural textures.
Yes.
Soft edges, maybe a font that feels kind of hand-drawn.
Oh, I love that.
Or organic.
Yeah, and don't forget about the layout.
Okay.
Keep things clean and uncluttered
Got
with
it.
plenty of breathing room.
Mhm.
You want to create a visual language that really speaks to the heart of your yoga practice.
I love that.
But it's not just about looking pretty.
Right. It's got to be functional.
Exactly. It has to be user-friendly.
Yeah, easy navigation is key.
For sure.
People should be able to find what they need, whether they're on a desktop or their phone,
Absolutely.
effortlessly.
And clear calls to action.
Okay, what's that?
Calls to action are those little prompts that encourage people to take the next step.
Okay.
Like book a spot or sign up for a newsletter.
Got it.
You want to kind of gently guide them towards the information and actions that matter most.
Right. It's all about that balance
Yes.
of creating something beautiful, but also easy to use.
Exactly.
Kind of like finding that alignment in a yoga pose.
I love that analogy.
Yeah,
Just like with yoga, it takes practice and attention to detail.
to get it right.
Yeah. And speaking content,
Yes.
we've talked about the blog,
Mm-hmm.
but what about other types of content?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Could we go beyond just writing?
absolutely.
What else could we do?
You could incorporate video.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, like little snippets of yoga classes
Yeah.
or guided meditations,
I like.
or even interviews with the instructors.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like giving people a little taste of what to expect.
Mm-hmm. And it shows off your personality
Exactly.
a little bit.
Yeah. What else? You could create a resource section
Okay.
with articles about yoga philosophy or mindfulness techniques or even healthy recipes.
Cool. So it's like a little hub
Yes.
of information.
Exactly.
I like that a lot. So it's not just about selling the retreat. It's about,
It's about sharing your passion
yeah,
and building a community.
I like that.
Yeah. And when you offer valuable content like that,
Mm-hmm.
you attract people who are genuinely interested in what you have to offer.
Right. So they're more likely to sign up.
Exactly.
It seems like we've talked about so much,
Yeah.
from the details of the schedule to the design and the content.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
And it's clear that a really successful yoga retreat website needs like a holistic approach,
It does.
thinking about all these different elements.
Yeah, and how it all works together to create the experience.
Exactly. And the article talks about how the most effective websites go beyond those standard features
Oh, for sure.
and they infuse their own personality.
It's all about finding those things that make your retreat special and weaving them in.
So it's not just checking boxes, it's about standing out,
Exactly.
which brings us to the article's suggestion about using Australian web design companies.
Oh, yeah, like Site Design NOW.
Yeah, they really get the market here.
They do. And partnering with experts who understand your audience and like the digital landscape can make a huge difference.
Yeah, it's like having someone to guide you through the process.
Totally.
Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay.
We've talked about all these essential features,
Mm-hmm.
but what would make your website stand out?
Yeah. What's that one unique thing that you could showcase
Right.
about your yoga practice or your teaching style or even your retreat location?
Yeah, maybe it's a specific type of yoga that you offer,
Ooh, that's a good one.
or a commitment to sustainability,
Yeah.
or even a personal story that connects with people.
Yeah, let that authenticity shine through.
So it could be like a retreat theme or a partnership with a charity or an artist,
Right. You want to attract the people who are meant to experience your retreat.
and build those genuine connections.
Exactly.
This has been such an interesting deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've learned so much about how to build a website that not only looks good, but really reflects what the retreat is all about.
Me too.
And a big thanks to Site Design NW for the inspiration for this episode.
Yes, thank you.
And listeners, you can find their details in the show notes.
If you're looking for some help with your website.
All right, until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those creative juices flowing.
Namaste.